ya, everybody. It's finally here. Happy St. Patrick's Day weekend to everybody. We have one more day until our big celebrations here in Columbus. I'm going to be really excited about that. I'm very excited about this flight today. I got the idea for this about 6 months ago, to be honest. And it was partly because of all this really good whiskey that I brought back from Ireland. And I really wanted to bring in a couple people whose palates I really respect. And I thought, well, let's get two different perspectives. Let's get a bourbon drinker and a Scotch drinker's perspective. So this is going to be a lot of fun. As you can tell, still fighting the head cold. This completely sucks. But I'm going to power through tonight. I'm going to power through my St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. And we'll go from there. The other thing I would like to mention, because I keep getting asked if I'm going to be live streaming tomorrow. No, I will not be doing a live stream on St. Patrick's Day. I'm actually an honoree in the parade here. So I'm going to be doing all the fun stuff in Columbus. We get up, we do a procession and mass, we do the parade, we do a big celebration at all of our different Irish clubs around town. So we'll be having a very good time late into tonight. But let me say hi to all you people that are here today. We have Mark Rayner. Cheers, Mark. How are you doing? Good afternoon, everyone. Cheers, Peter White. How are you? We have Marty, Mr. Whiskey Nose. Hey, Marty. Marty, make sure you drop your link in here. And if you guys aren't following Whiskey Nose, make sure you give him a follow. We have Mary S. Cheers to you, Mary. Douglas Papa. Cheers, Douglas. How are you doing? It is good to see you. Amy Oburn, hello. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I hope your liver is holding up over the weekend. It is. I have actually not had a whole lot to drink this weekend because of all this. So you might also see me reaching for, I got my tissues here. Hopefully I won't need them too much. I'm pretty much clogged up, so luckily I don't have a runny nose anymore. Cheers, Liz B. Cheers, everyone drinking Backbone Irish whiskey. JG, cheers, whiskey cheers. It's good to see you, JG. EMC, hey, y'all. How are you doing, Emily? Debbie M, have a great day tomorrow. Thank you, Debbie. It's going to be a good day for the parade. It's going to be one where we're not getting rain and snowed on. That's a rare occasion, seems like. Although last year it was ridiculously warm. Cheers, Josh Fritz. Good evening, all. Going to pour some Jameson triple in a few. That is a good one. You know, we've actually already finished that bottle. I've got to get another one. Thank you. Thank you, EMC. Yeah, that is Marty's link if you've not subbed to Marty. Hey, Jim, pinch hitter, speak easy. Cheers to you. So I am just, one of my guests is running just a little bit late. So we're just going to hang out until he gets there. You just bought a bottle to open tonight. It is a good one, that Jameson triple. But my other guest, I would like to introduce. I absolutely love this woman. She is living proof that you can take Irish whiskey into Scotland and not be stopped and harassed at the border. Please help me welcome Leanne from Scotch on the Bayou.
Hey, my friend. Hey. Yes, I am coming live via Holiday Inn Wi-Fi from Leith outside of Edinburgh, Scotland.
Wow.
So not unusual.
You might be the farthest away that I've ever had anybody stream, I think. It'd be you or London.
It's definitely not the Bayou, I will tell you that. I will tell you that. It's been, I think I've been here a little over 48 hours, and I have done a lot and drank even more so far.
I got her to agree to this long before we knew she was, oh, wait, yeah. I'm going to be in Scotland.
It was one of those opportunities where I really wanted to do this show, of course, but it was an opportunity to be able to come over for the first ever Independent Spirits Festival in Leith, really celebrating all of the independent bottlers and what their contribution was. In addition to that, we actually had the premiere of the docu-series Independent Spirits by the same people who came up with the Water of Life film. So wow. Hollywood film documentary, 4 parts, It's available now online, but it was an amazing uh, uh, show about the intricacies of independent bottling in that versus the distiller, and just terribly interesting. And I didn't want to miss that, but I didn't want to miss this either.
That would have to be amazing to see because I did see The Water of Life. I know a lot of us, big whiskey fans, have seen that. So that had to be an amazing experience to
It,
actually see a screening of their new
yeah,
one. Wow.
about 400 people in a an old
Wow.
building theater that smelled very much like a Dunnage house. I was like, ah, this smells familiar. Yeah, it was fantastic. The director, Greg Schwartz, presented it along with his producers, and just very well done, very polished, and a ton of people that I know were in it. And it was great to see them shine.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, yeah, taste and sensibility, salon to everybody. So while we're waiting, can you tell everybody about this festival? Because we got a few minutes to kill before he gets
Yeah,
here.
yeah. So, you know, most, and I'm sure there's a whole level of independent bottlers for Irish whiskey. When you think
Yeah.
about the blenders or the IBs of even bourbon, they're a third party or an offshoot, not the distillery, and so they can either buy the distillate from the distillery or a cask. Mostly they're going to go through brokers. And it was very interesting on how the film particularly showed the evolution of that. And basically, you've got Johnny Walker. We've all heard about Johnny
Mhm.
Walker. They were a grocer who blended whiskeys, they blended tea, they sold all of that in their mercantile stores,
Mhm.
right? And so that evolved into blending whiskey, and so they were kind of like the first independent bottlers because they were still buying from distilleries, but those
Mhm.
distilleries were really making it for blends. And so you in modern times, you're kind of going through a broker to where they're doing kind of the middleman cask exchange. And we had a big, boom about cask investment and things like that
Oh, yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of really changed the landscape a bit, which is going to be interesting considering kind of where whiskey is at the moment. And then you're now seeing kind of a back tide of whiskey independent bottlers now starting their own distilleries.
Mhm.
So, you've got
That's
Corry
interesting
does.
because I don't think we have that in Ireland just yet. They call them whiskey bonders in
Yes.
Ireland, like JJ Corry
Yeah.
is a whiskey bonder.
Okay.
But I don't think we have any that I can think of off the top of my head that
Hmm.
have gone from being a whiskey bonder to distilling. So that's really
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, they're having a lot of trouble getting spirit to then put in their own cask or do
Okay.
their own thing with, you know?
Because have the
The costs
distilleries
are
kinda cut back on
prohibitive.
production? Is that why?
Say again?
Have the distilleries cut back on production, or is it more
They're cutting down on production,
okay,
and then the cost of the basically the middleman is
okay.
so
Oh, yeah,
prohibitive that
those
they're not
cask
able to really work that anymore. But they don't want to make they want to make sure they're not going to run out of
yeah.
distillate. So you have someone who like Gordon and MacPhail, who is literally started as the grocer way back, and they have been doing independent bottling forever and shook our world in Scotch when they said we're not only they have Ben Romick, so they
Mm,
own Ben Romick Distillery and the Cairn Distillery, and they've made a sea change in that they're going to eventually stop being an independent bottler and just concentrate
wow.
on their distilleries. They have 80 years of casks, okay? I
Okay,
I will not live long enough before they're out of casks to do as an
okay, so
independent
they're
bottler.
kinda like Cooley. I gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's quite a few of them, and then you have, like, these little upstarts, like Thompson Brothers, who are up in Dornoch. If any Scotch folks are out there, you might know of them, so that's gonna be up way past Glenmorangie and Clynelish and Brora, that kind of on the northeast area, and north of Speyside in the Highlands. And they've been making a small, they've had a small distillery they've been working with, but they've been doing independent bottlings and blended malts. So various malts from different distilleries, but together and making a blend, or they may teaspoon a little grain in there.
Mhm.
So it's a blended
It's
Scotch.
like, yeah, so it's not exact, yeah.
Super price points, unbelievable wizardry that they're doing. They've just decided they're going to start a distillery, and that's a long game, right?
Oh,
I
yeah, it
mean,
is. It's a big investment.
you're not doing that to see all the fruits now.
Yeah.
It's going to be down the
And
road.
what a
It's kind of
time to decide to start that. Talk
yeah,
about a scary time to start that. I mean, just
you're right. So kind of if things are not looking good, it's time to buy, and
they
then
are not,
sell when
yeah.
they're high, kind of thing.
So I had a few
Um,
more people pop in here. Ed
oh,
Williams,
awesome.
it's good to see you. I see we have Josh Fritz. We have Mike Stahl. Mike is going to be going live at 9 o'clock tonight with Livewire. Taste and Sensibility, I can't remember. I thought I said hi to you, but if I didn't, here's a hi again. Nick Proman, how are y'all doing? We are just waiting for our other guests, so I thought what better time to pick Leanne's brain about her being in Scotland for this amazing festival. Day one has already blown me away of your trip. Jason Coates, oh, thank you,
Yeah,
Jason, thank you. I am going to be doing a giveaway for hitting 1,000 people. I'm just waiting for all this St. Patrick's Day to be over because it's a little chaotic. Bourbon Engineer, I thought I saw you in here. It's good to see you. Then we have Cool Running. There's one of my Irish friends, Sláinte. Oh, pinch hitter. Okay, so Jim's going to be live at 7:30, filling in for Bourbon Neophyte. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Jim. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. Yeah, we were talking about, so in the past 2 weeks, we have heard Middleton is, they call it for sustainability, that they are dialing back production for 3 months. They're basically stopping production for 3 months. And they're calling that for sustainability, but we all know. We all know what it is.
yeah.
Bushmills as well has adjusted production, which I think I've told you that Bushmills Causeway distillery, when I visited there, it never been running. It didn't run the
Hmm.
whole time we were there. It's a brand new multi-million-dollar facility that they just built. It's gorgeous. You've got Great Northern Distillery that has announced that they are going to be scaling back. I've talked to some industry people. They said they're expecting there's going to be probably some cask sell-offs. They're expecting these big distilleries to kind of sell off some stock to try to just keep things moving.
Move some
So
cash.
yeah, it's an interesting time right now. It's a little scary, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's distilleries cutting back. There's distilleries like Killarney that's never started. They actually spent all this money in this multi-million-dollar facility. It has never ran. They've never distilled a thing
Wow.
on it,
Wow.
which it's frightening and it's concerning. So for them to decide now is the time that I'm going to start a Scotch distillery, good on you.
It's kind of like that tree you plant that you never expect to sit in the shade for, you know. A lot of they're just that forward thinking, and they got the moxie, I mean,
Yeah.
it takes some wherewithal in this market to be able to say, yeah, we're going to make this work, and then be primed for the next wave, because it always waves, right? It's
Oh
it's
yeah.
always going to wave.
It does. Ireland seems to have been more cliffs. Our waves seem to be more like straight down
Oh,
for Irish whiskey, but I'm enjoying the renaissance. Honestly, I don't think it's completely unexpected from anyone, just because it's the amount that's right now is not sustainable. Um, there are some brands that we're concerned about from talking with people. Some of them are going to be fine. Some of them we have a right to be concerned about them. They're probably not going to 2 years, and you're probably not going to have them around anymore. But we shall see. Hey, Jeff Castle. Cheers to you. We're hanging out waiting on our last guest here. He's running just a little bit behind. Let me know, guys, what you all are drinking in chat. Make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff that YouTube likes us to do that lets people know that we're here. Tell Leanne that Tula is curled around her bed as we watch the show.
Tula is
Aww.
Velcro. That dog is stuck to him like glue.
Aww.
Miss you, honey.
Aww.
Having fun though.
I told Leanne because I don't have enough going on in March. We also decided to pick up a new puppy yesterday. So we have a new French bulldog. Yeah,
That's awesome.
the 1 year that France freaking kicked our butt in Irish rugby, we bring another Frenchman into the house.
Yeah, well, they kicked Scotland's butt last night.
Yeah, I was really hoping Scotland would have pulled that out. I was rooting for Scotland big time.
We had one Frenchman sitting at the table, and everybody was giving him the stink eye. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I would have been. But yeah, I was hoping. Although we looked crappy against Italy as well, to be honest. That was not an impressive win. So the French deserve to win it in Six Nations this year. It stunk. No three-peat for Ireland, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Amy. Yeah, so I will not be getting sleep for the near future. He's actually doing not bad. He slept through I only had to get up once.
Do you have a name yet?
Cheers to you. Happy St. Patty's Eve. What was that?
What do you have a name yet?
His name is Leo.
Leo.
It's short for Napoleon. Yeah.
Gotcha.
French dog, French name. Hey, Jeffrey Jankovitz, evening all. Just poured some Blue Spot, working on some job resumes. Blue Spot is an excellent pour. You enjoy that one. I've got that one up there. Starting with the Redacted, also known as Powers John's Lane. They call it Redacted. I think we need to drink more of that one. And I don't know. It's somewhat popular in Ireland with some people, and then some don't like it. So, All right. My other guest, you just give me a thumbs up whenever you're ready. Oh, he is okay. Well, please help me welcome Jason from Mash and Drum. Hey,
hey! What's going on?
What is going on, Scotch on the Bayou?
Live from Scotland.
I'm coming all the way from Scotland tonight.
You're in Scotland right now?
He's in Scotland.
I'm in Scotland right now.
I gave her Irish whiskey to smuggle into Scotland.
I brought that American single malt, Louisiana rice whiskey, and still Austin to Scotland.
That is the most rock star thing ever. And then, jeez, and then you guys, and then she's literally in Scott. I'm so jelly. Just call me Smuckers.
It's adult Candyland. Let's put it that way.
What are you? I know, Leanne, when you usually go, you kind of focus on visiting a specific distillery or a couple. Is there any one you're focusing on right now while you're there?
A couple of not so much distilleries this time. Came on mainly over for the Independent Spirits Festival that was yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And for those who are just joining now, I mean, we talked a little bit about it, but it's basically the very first festival that brought independent bottlers together. So you had Gordon MacPhail next to Little Brown Dog and Fragrant Drops and Dramful and all these other Lady the Glen, Karen Moore, all these independents that are putting out exceptional whiskey, and it's usually a fraction of what something comparable would be from a distillery, if you even saw that. Most of them aren't ever going to be able to do that expression because it doesn't meet their distillery profile, right?
Yeah.
So that means just really good whiskey. I don't think I had something yesterday that was younger than 25 years.
Wow.
And the biggie was the last dram, which was a Gordon and MacPhail 1949. That was amazing. And I was just like, wow, pretty cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
pretty cool. Just a day in the life of Leanne. Cool.
Yeah. Living my best life and Leaf tonight. I'll go to Glasgow tomorrow. But doing a few distillery tours. I was at Glenkinchie today, which is very surprising to me. It was for a Diageo kind of core, blend whiskey, or used in the blend of Johnny Walker. And it was a wonderful presentation. Very interesting.
I like it when you can walk into a distillery, because we've all been to, I don't know how many distilleries, but when you can go in and really take something different away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love when a distillery. Yeah, and I love when a distillery can surprise you.
Yeah.
You maybe walk in not expecting so much, and maybe it's not the most beautiful distillery or the most high advanced or doesn't have the most history, but the people and the kind of just the entire experience you get could be amazing. So I love that.
Well, while you guys are pouring the first one, I'll say hi to some people. So
what is the first one, babe?
Which one's the first one?
Thank you. First of all, thank you both for agreeing to do this, because I hit you both up. I was telling everybody probably about 6 months ago, because I was so excited with this idea. So we are drinking, for everybody in chat, all Irish single casks. So these are all going to be cask strength. They're all going to be very unique. And we are starting with the JJ Corry 21 year.
The vintage
select.
JJ Corry Vintage Select.
All right.
Got top Jimmy. Cheers to you. I think I said cheers to you, Joe. I saw you sneak in here. Donald Ranson. Good evening, folks. Good evening to you, Donald. We have Andrew Bose Wine Guy. Cheers, everyone.
Didn't you and Donald do a collab recently? Because
we did. We just
that
was fun.
You guys talking about Irish whiskey is like, holy crap!
That was fun. Yeah, we decided we can't just make that yearly. We've got to do that more than once a year, because
that's like a whole Irish whiskey encyclopedia session.
That's like I poured one drink, and next thing I know, it's an hour and 15 minutes later.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna pour a little bit. Hey, David Smith.
Oh my God.
And Jason, you die here. Yeah, this has been going on for a week. I have a head cold that has been apparently going around our area, and I can't get rid of it.
Yeah,
you have the head cold, and I've been tasting a lot of whiskey, so you're up, Jason.
Yeah,
that means your palate is sufficiently warmed up.
Yeah, I've been dodging the sickness. So I'm gonna keep knocking on wood, and hopefully I don't get anything.
I did until my husband brought it home, and I should have known, because he doesn't get sick. So when it hits him,
I don't have kids, so I feel like that's a big advantage too.
Same, but yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Miracle Martinez.
This is so much pear and tangerine, not tangerine, pear and peaches on this one. So much. This might be the most pear forward whiskey I've had in.
I get a lot of tropical on this. I get a lot of citrus.
I do, but I like a real bright, fresh, grassy kind of note too.
Yeah, Sugar Kitty. Bourbon Engineer, Kalana Kilty into glass.
What's up, Urban Engineer? He's the man.
Hey, cheers, Forlorn Hope. Yeah, this one I was compared to like a tropical fruit cup.
Oh yeah, that like syrup that's in there.
Yeah, like this, all that fruit, that tropical fruit. The
yeah,
syrup,
pears, peaches, pineapple for sure. I get what you're saying, Leanne, with that little bit of a grassiness it's got, like just not like a grassiness that makes it feel youthy, but just like a fresh cut. There's just something fresh about it.
There is, yeah. So this is a bourbon cask finish. This is a natural color for a bourbon cask. Bourbon casks tend to be lighter, even 21 years old. This one was sourced from Bushmills. So this kind of goes back to the festival that you're doing in Ireland. They call them whiskey bonders.
Okay.
And this one was done by JJ Corry with Louise McGuan. She sources the casks. She keeps them on her farm, and she categorizes all her casks by flavor profile. So her blends, she's got casks marked like creme brulee, pineapple, smoky bacon, and she picks from the cask depending on what kind of flavor profile she's looking for. So some of her blends, you can have whiskey in there that's 20 years old. Hi, Graham Fraser. I'm following in Leanne's footsteps tonight.
Literally, because he's who I
Slogger.
spent my entire day with. And we took the bus and we had a nice 35-minute walk to the distillery, and he learned how much of a flatlander I am. But no, we had a blast. And then we ended the night at the Balmoral Hotel at the Scotch bar, with a really nice dram.
You're making me feel better, actually, because we were at the pub in Belfast, and I'm like, they have Uber here, right? Like, it's just a 15-minute walk back to the hotel. I'm like, yeah, question stands. They have Uber here, right? I have not had this one in a bit.
Oh,
I wanted to include this one for a couple of reasons. I think it's an exceptional bottle. But I also, I don't drink enough just bourbon, cask finish, Irish. And I think it gives the distillate a chance to shine. I mean, you're not hiding anything in a bourbon cask finish.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was going to say, right as this is opening up, I get a little maraschino cherry in here. There's a slight bump of, now I'm starting to pick up like the vanilla oak, like,
Yeah.
from the bourbon cask. Like it's hard. Like once you get past that punch of tropical fruit, I do believe that the bourbon cask starts. But like you said, you still feel like you have the nice backbone of the Irish whiskey here.
Oh, definitely. And that's why I think I kind of gravitate. I think of this one like a tropical fruit cup because I do get that kind of vanilla syrup. The sweetness is definitely here as well.
Man, the palate is just, it's pineapple, but it feels like it's like grilled pineapple. Like there's a
char element to it.
Yeah, there's like a char element, that oak that's there.
Yeah.
Nice
little spice from the oak.
Yep.
Got a nice little spicy kick at the end.
It does. A little bit of pot still love.
Yeah. Yeah. Not
this is actually a single malt. So I picked this one especially also. So this is a single cask for Ohio.
Hey.
Oh, this was one of the Brohio ones?
This is one of the Ohio ones. And I didn't think you probably had tried it yet.
No, I bought one of the JJ Corrys, but I don't remember which one. You know what? I mean, the fact that it's a single malt makes sense because even though there is a spice, it doesn't really have that really punch you in the face spice that some Irish whiskeys can bring. But it's got this little.
It does have spice on it, though.
It's got that little sparkle on the back end of it. That just
good word, sparkle.
Yeah, I can't take credit for that. That's an endemic word, Stacy from Ohio. Endemic says that's a really perfect word to describe something that gives you a little bit of like a tingle, like on the back end of it.
A sparkle.
It sparkles. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I could pull that one off, but I'll try.
It's funny because like at the end, now that it's maybe power of suggestion or whatever, but I get more malt on the finish at the end. Just kind of that slightly bready. It's kind of a good malt taste.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that grilled pineapple note. It's so distinct for me. It's so good.
Yeah, I really enjoy this one. I like all the tropical fruit that I get on this, and that is something I tend to get on a bourbon cask finish that's Irish. I get the tropical fruit. I get apricot. I get that vanilla. I like that this has been in the cask long enough. You do get that oak spice as well.
Yeah, that apricot is quickly on the forefront too. Another note that I love getting, and not only just single malt from Scotland, but also Irish whiskey as well.
And for 21 years, and still being 54 ABV, right? Am I reading it right?
Yeah, that is correct. 54.
It's really bright for 21 years. I mean, sometimes things get a little, they go a little mellow, and
I see why Bushmills got rid of this one. It doesn't fit typically in the Bushmills DNA unless they were doing a causeway, which they probably didn't have enough to do a causeway, but this whiskey bonder did. It was enough for them to release a cask.
Yeah, that's a really great point, Leanne, because even trying older Scottish single malts, the older they get, you really start getting the oak. They really do mellow out, like compared to something that's 10, 11, 12 years old. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense for sure. It's a good call out.
Hey, Jeffrey Wack. Donald has a question. Is JJ Corry using Bushmills distillate for their older stuff? She's used both. She's had some older Cooley as well. I don't know if she did mention she still had an real old Cooley malt cask. So she's sourcing from all over. I think she's got some from Dingle, some other places.
It's just so fresh. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we're starting with that one, Stacy.
Yes, we're starting with that one.
All right. Yeah, that's really good. I just love how the finish just sneaky, it just goes. It just kind of hangs on, and this is one you could just kind of sit. This is one. It's weird. It's fresh and it's like it's light, but it's kind of spicy at the same time. It's got a long finish. It shows his age in some areas, but I feel like you could sit down and either crush this bottle or also sit down and enjoy it, depending on which way you want to go, because it's so fruit forward and it's so tropical. You just want to kind of keep drinking it, but if you just want to sit down and enjoy this, you really can. There's a lot to dissect.
This is one I really enjoyed it. I'm probably going to grab another one because that's all I got left. There were only how many? 180 done.
What's the price point for an Irish?
So this one actually, and I actually spoke with Louise Tuesday about this one, and she's like, she priced it too low for the Ohio market. This is only $250 for a 21-year cask strength Irish whiskey. By comparison, Redbreast 21 and Bushmills 21 in our state, which neither of those are cask strength, and they sell for $50 to $100 more.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a.
Well, let me go and stop right now and say, first of all, thank you for sharing all of these magnificent.
Oh, no problem.
That's a real treat.
Yeah, I really enjoy this one. I was surprised when I tried it. Like, wow.
Yeah,
sure. I don't gravitate towards bourbon cask finishes, but this one, yeah,
when they're done right, you just it's like you just don't want the bourbon cask to overtake all the maltiness and like the backbone of the Irish whiskey. So,
and in regards to Scotch, I kind of go with a bourbon finish as my center, and then I kind of go out from there, because so many times they'll still use a bourbon maturation for the majority of the maturation, and then go into a sherry or wine cask or port or rum or something else for an additional time that's usually pretty hefty, anywhere from 2 to 4 or 6 years. But I think the backbone of a good Scotch, and something that's really there for my palate, is having a good solid bourbon maturation. And it can go way oaky if you're not careful, and especially the older ones, like Jason
get that pencil shaving note, especially if it's sitting in a sherry cask.
You get a little lumber on it. There's a little 2x4 on this,
Yeah.
Feel like I went to Lowe's and took a lick of the 2x4, and it's just like, oh man.
I always compare like it's like that graphite kind of woody graphite note.
That fresh sharpened pencil.
Yeah, when it's been in a sherry cask too long. Yeah. Speaking of sherry casks, our next one. So this is a Redbreast, all Oloroso sherry matured single cask 18-year-old whiskey.
Ooh, it's illegal.
What the?
This is from a great shop in Belfast called The Friend at Hand. If any of you have the occasion to go to Ireland, I definitely, first of all, encourage a trip to Belfast. Absolutely flippin' love Belfast. But definitely make sure you stop at The Friend at Hand shop. So The Friend at Hand shop is a whiskey store that does single casks. They also are kind of a whiskey museum. So they have a back room that has all of the older Bushmills Causeway expressions. They have all of the Middleton single distilleries. They have all this historic memorabilia in there. They actually have one of the stones from the Giant's Causeway. They got special permission from the government to have this Giant's Causeway stone in their store. So I got to go back and take a bunch of video, and I was trying to pull it up, but Chrome is not liking me today. So I'll put together a video and post it so everybody could see the inside of the shop. It was amazing. And we picked out a couple single casks, and this was one of them. So this has had 18 years, all Oloroso sherry matured from Redbreast. Wow. If you have not tried Redbreast single casks, they are worth the price.
This might be my first Redbreast single cask. I don't think I've had one before. Trying to think back.
Yeah,
maybe
no.
maybe a while.
I've had 4 or 5 of them.
Well, of course you have. I have
Okay.
nothing less.
You live in that land.
Yeah.
Oh man.
There was a note I got like right at the very beginning that just like took me back, and I'm like struggling.
So this one is 55.2%.
Is it Fig Newton? Because I just got all straight up Fig Newtons.
Yeah, it was
I
like
do
a
get figs on this
combination
one.
of pancake syrup and stewed figs would be great. Yeah.
The pancake syrup is a great call out. It does get there's a little hint of maple to it for sure.
It's not hanging around long. I'm getting more of the fruit on it now.
What's up, Everwind?
Hey, everyone.
Hey, Chris.
And Zenbu, cheers to you. I don't think I missed anybody.
Mm-mm-mm.
I get a little like
Roger Reese.
Spoiling us tonight.
Hey, what's up,
Stacey.
Roger?
There you go. So Donald and I have had the same Redbreast. Yes. The La Maison Dieu, that tasted totally different for Redbreast and was flippin' incredible. And I wish those bottles were still available. But that was good. But this is still, I had to grab, as soon as we saw the Redbreast when we walked in the store, I had to grab this.
I get there's like a beautiful candy apple note on this too. Oh, I love that.
So I was very fortunate that I walked in the store and my husband actually just let me pick out what I wanted. And I'm like, your shirt, right? That's in pounds. It's not converted yet.
Say, honey.
Yeah.
He said, yep.
You're like, you realize I'm going to pick probably something really rare and expensive. So I'm just telling you.
We did. And I reminded him that, those prices were in pounds. So that conversion was going to hurt. But yeah, we the next two you're trying are going to be from this shop.
Get a little blueberry in here too. This thing's all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you get a little bit of chocolate on there too?
Yep.
And I still do get a little bit of kind of like a slivered almond from the Oloroso.
On the nose or the palate? I hadn't got to the taste yet.
Oh, I haven't on the palate. I
haven't on the palate yet.
I'm running slow, y'all.
It's like a damn candle. Oh yeah, I could see the almond there.
Yeah.
Just like right on the very end. Mid palate is mid palate is so much dark fruit.
Yeah, it's very fruity.
But like you said,
cherries,
like the stewed fruits. Yeah, dark cherry, blueberry, fig.
Cooked down black cherries. Oh man,
this thing is really.
Still a little hint of maple.
Yeah, I think this hint of maple. This is beautifully done sherry.
Yeah, Redbreast knows a little bit about aging sherry single pot still whiskeys.
Just a bit.
Just a few 100 years experience.
Mm-hmm. Ain't their first rodeo. Wow. This one you could just literally smell all day. You could just nose it all day long.
It's like I'm telling you, I'm getting like this candy tart, like apple in there, like an apple, like a tart. I don't know. Is it apple? Maybe it's cranberry. There's something there that's giving me a tartness. It's just providing that brightness right in the mid palate before it gets to the almond. It's like right in between the dark fruit and the almond note.
I like where you're going with the cranberry, because it kind of gets you.
Yeah, it gives you that little thing on the side of your, like right in your cheek, right? Yeah, I don't think it's apple. I think it is cranberry, or maybe like a what do you call it? Pomegranate, a little bit.
Ooh, Sugar Kitty called it.
Oh, pomegranate. Yeah.
Oh, there you go, pomegranate. Yep. I think that's what it is. Like those chocolate covered. Those chocolate-covered pomegranate candies that you get in the store.
Or the palm juice, if you really want to
Yeah.
be
Yeah, that's what it
lazy and
reminds
not
me of,
have to
that
work
palm
on the
juice.
pomegranate.
That's exactly what it is. Pomegranate. Yep. Mm.
Ooh.
Hot damn, that's good. Oh, Roger Reese Sipping Powers, John's Lane. Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Yep, John's Lane.
Well, that's a favorite go-to right there.
That's a great one. So different than the cask strength. I think I might actually prefer the regular over the cask strength.
Man.
This one has a lot of depth to it. It's good.
Yeah.
And again, sherry done right, no off flavors. It doesn't get like into the pencil, or even sometimes you get a little bit of like the sulfur. It doesn't really get into that either. It's like
Very layered.
it is
Yeah.
very layered.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the pencil shaving note we were talking about. This one does not have that, and I have had some that do.
You know.
Hey, Daniel. Then.
Daniel
Hey, Daniel Hayes. No crab apple.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever had a crab apple, but that's fine.
I mean, the crab apples, that'll make you wince. They're so tart.
Oh, really? Okay.
You'd be kind of like blinking for a little bit because.
I just remember my mom always telling us don't eat them because they'll give you worms.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that's even true. They're like, oh, there's wormholes in the
I
apples.
think they were like you could eat them and you just kind of get a stomach ache from like the sourness of them.
I think that was more what it was.
God, the nose has just gotten more figgy to me. Like
I get a lot of fig on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Just pour some West Cork Glengarriff Bog Oak. That is a unique one.
Bog Oak sounds horrible, but
It's not my jam.
It's
Graham and I went by a bog tonight. We walked almost through a bog tonight.
I'm not sure if I want to crack my Redbreast 12 cask strength because I'm afraid it's going to go away. I might turn to the Redbreast 15 tonight. Those are both good pours.
I think that's a happy compromise, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't get worms. Don't eat the crab apples.
Daniel Hayes says red spot, but would gladly trade for a blue spot.
See, I like red spot. That's my favorite one.
Yeah, I would agree. I think I'm between red spot and blue spot, usually going, back and forth between those two. I mean, when you just want a little bit more punch, blue spot, but red spot has all those really good layers of dark fruit flavors. I love it.
Yeah, the price is just so crazy on red spot anymore.
All the spots just went crazy. It's just ridiculous.
They have they've put them on sale a bit. They lowered the prices a little. It's back down to 200 here.
Oh.
But they seem to be getting some division between the brands. They've got the spots at the high level and Redbreast in the middle and Powers at the lower end, but I think that they've hit a ceiling for how much people are willing to pay. Leanne and I were just discussing that Middleton announced they were going to be shutting down for 3 months.
Yeah.
So they're trying to spin it that it's sustainability, and ain't nobody buying that.
Like, I mean, Glenglossy.
Not when Bushmills was,
not
when Bushmills was also, and Brown Foreman and Great Northern scaling back production a bit. So
yeah, Green River Bourbon. I mean, they just announced they're laying off people. I mean, it's everywhere.
It's bad.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see the end of it for Irish. I think in the next probably 2 years, it's all going to shake out. And unfortunately, I don't think all those brands will still be here, but hopefully they find somewhere to land. Hopefully, maybe they get bought up.
Yeah,
so we can still have them around. But
yeah, I just think they need to be a little bit more cognizant of all the releases they're putting out. So
I would agree with that. You got 2 red spots for less than retail at Duty Free in Dublin. Love Duty Free Dublin.
Wow. Nice.
I may have hauled back some stuff from Duty Free Dublin myself. I had a sick husband at the time, so I actually only brought back 2 bottles from there.
I am well versed with the weight allowment.
Yeah, I had 42 bottles from the other week of that trip, so Let's
You
drink it
win.
up to make Jason Irish.
What are you talking about? I'm already Irish. That was a terrible Irish accent, by the way. I'm just saying that's my only
Italian
Irish.
Irish?
Yeah, it was kind of Italian Irish. Yeah. By the way, Italian Irish weddings, best wedding you can ever go to. Best wedding.
Wow. Yeah.
I can't even imagine walking out upright out of an Italian
You
Irish
won't.
wedding.
You won't. Either because you drank so much or because you got in a fight.
I was about to say, an Italian Irish wedding in Louisiana would really be something. Not only would you drink good, you eat really well, and somebody would probably be in handcuffs. Buddy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow.
All right.
Dang.
Are you guys ready to move on to the next one?
Not really, but I guess we have to. I just gotta enjoy this one.
I know.
All right, what's
we're
third
sticking with sherry, and we're going up in years.
What's third in the lineup?
So this is a Dunville's 23-year Palo Cortado cask finish. That I know somebody's a fan of Palo Cortado.
You had me at Palo Cortado.
Natural color.
Is it you?
This is from Dunville's. So this is made by the Ecklinville Distillery up in County Down. This is also a special single cask bottling done for a friend at Hand Shop in Belfast. This is cask 1204. This one is bottled at 53.7% ABV.
Between Palo Cortados and Amontillado, I don't know which of those two I like better at the moment.
Oh, I need to send you a
that's
couple
a
of
tough
scotches
one.
then, Jason. I didn't really understand that.
What's that, Leanne?
I need to send you a couple of samples of scotch then. If that's your jam.
Yeah, those two I mean, nothing against Oloroso and PX. They're delicious, but there's just a lot of that out there. So kind of getting to some of the different varietals of sherry.
I'm kind of a Muscatel fan too.
Oh yeah,
I like those sweet floral kind of almondy notes.
Yeah.
Oh. See, this one has a drier, little bit more of a nutty, like a chestnut, like a roasted chestnut profile. That's good.
Yeah, been Demon Hunter. Yeah, this one is different. I absolutely love Dunville's. This is a single malt. Dunville's is known for their sherry bombs for Irish whiskey. They're known for doing big sherry finishes. And we did the most interesting tasting at the Dunville's warehouse. They actually, before we tried the whiskey, they set up a sherry tasting. So we got to try actual Fino sherry, Oloroso sherry, PX sherry, Palo Cortado sherry. Then we got to try, like a 12-year that was finished in Palo Cortado, a 23-year that was finished in PX. It was like black as coffee. They're also doing an Armagnac finish here recently. They've got a rum finish, but they do the sherry finishes very, very well.
I love that because you kind of get your center and you have an understanding of like the flavor profile of the actual sherry.
Yeah.
Because people just don't drink a lot of sherry, right?
And they don't, especially
it's kind of like you hear these words and you don't really know what they are, but being able to have that baseline of flavor profile and then go to the whiskey and see how that cask has complemented the whiskey's overall, complexion, and be able to pick those notes out. It was
really, really interesting because, like, for example, Fino sherry. I've got a few bottles that do have Fino sherry in the finish. I didn't realize it was so citrusy.
There's a lot of American whiskey distillers messing around with Amontillado and Palo Cortado a little bit more frequently now. I just don't think they've quite cracked the code yet. I haven't really found one that I've been like, oh my God, I have to have that one. Probably one of the best ones that I've done it is Sagamore with their rye whiskey. I feel like it works a little bit better with the rye. But
I can see that. I could see it working with rye.
Do you think it's because it counterbalances
right now in Irish?
Yeah, I just think
the sweet and the spice.
Yeah, here's my thing with those types of finishes. You have like this sherry, and I understand the years that are on this. You really can't, it's a different type of maturation in American whiskey, and I get that. But the beauty of it here is I feel like it's more integrated within the whiskey, whereas sometimes you get a bourbon or an American whiskey which has a sherry type of influence on it. And it just feels like, how do I explain this? It just feels like
a top layer.
Yeah, like there's just like a little bit of a sherry on the top, and then it just turns back into a bourbon. And if the bourbon or the rye whiskey, typically, if it's younger and they're kind of throwing a finish on it to hide that youthful characteristic, it just doesn't integrate well. It's like two halves of a football game. It just kind of goes from, you get all this fruit, you get the finish, and all of a sudden it gets back into a youthful characteristic. When it's integrated and done well, it could be beautiful, but I don't really feel like I've had anyone that can. I'm just talking about a single, just a single type of secondary maturation with either Amontillado or Palo Cortado.
And it's tricky. I think finishing bourbon is tricky to hit that sweet spot where the bourbon still, you can still taste it without the finish being overwhelming, and you could still taste the finish. I think Irish takes to finishing a lot better.
Yeah, actually, Jason Coates in the chat pulls out probably the one that I feel like has done it the best is Cedar Ridge with their Amontillado American single malt. We actually got a chance to select one last month. I got a full cask of it. It is ridiculous. It is so good.
Wow.
Yeah,
that does sound good. I do have a couple of Amontillado, and I like them. They're starting to get used a little more in Irish. Palo Cortado is getting used quite a bit right now. They're wet for a spell. It seems like the past year was like the year of the Palo Cortado. There were so many different Palo Cortados that came out.
I think I like this better than the Redbreast.
I like this better than the Redbreast. I do.
It's just darker. There's like a brown, almost burnt butter note to it.
Yeah.
That is just so good.
Yeah.
And then you get into like that, that nuttiness, like that little bit of a dry, sweet nuttiness that it has that you get with Palo Cortado.
Yeah, I typically get like those Danish butter cookies, those little almondy, buttery. And you do get a butteriness on this.
You mean the ones that come in the sewing kit?
Yes, the sewing kit. Yeah, the blue tins.
Oh yeah, the sewing kit ones.
Blue tins.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do get that on this, but you definitely get like the depth and complexity to this.
Oh my God, that is such a throwback to my grandma's house.
All our grandmas had one of those. Either had a sewing kit or buttons in it. I think that.
Yeah, I think mine had buttons. I think it was buttons at my grandma. Yeah.
I think the Palo Cortado is really coming out on that finish too. You really got a lot. It's a lot drier.
It is. This one is drier than the Redbreast.
You got a good shot of heat, spice on it going into the finish. Lingers. I mean, it's just.
This one has this one even has a better, like a heftier texture than the Redbreast does. This one just sits on your palate a bit. It's as I like to say, it keeps the needle on the record.
Yeah, we got these home and tried them side by side, and I actually picked up another couple Dunvilles as well when we were at Ecklandville Distillery, and I think this is my favorite.
This is ridiculous. I would buy a case of this.
Yeah.
I can see Stacy. I take one of those.
Yeah.
One of those.
I want to give this to like an Americanist. I'm like, this is how you do Palo Cortado. Just do this.
I would have liked to. That probably would have cost probably as much as one of the tickets for the vacation.
How much is a Dunville 23 year?
I think it was 375 pounds or 300. One of them was 325 pounds. The other was 375 pounds.
Oh, so that's like four.
I'm not worthy.
Yeah, it's like 450. Yeah.
Jeez.
But
all right, I might not buy a case anymore.
Maybe not a case. Yeah.
I'll get a bottle.
Oh, you're a big talker.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I really liked this one. The other bottle we picked up was a 20-year. That's a PX finish. That is really dark, and that one is the most non-PX that I've had. I get so much cinnamon on that and spice on that one. It's just, it does not drink like a PX. It's so weird.
So I'm curious. I have a question for you guys because Stacey, you being on the Irish side so heavily and knowing your Irish whiskey, Leanne, you being so deep rooted in Scotch as well, single malt. I just have it here because I always it's always like the universal argument between like bourbon drinkers and maybe like single malt or Irish whiskey drinkers, especially when it comes to when you call like a sherry bomb or something that's finished that's so deep and rich and dark. Is it kind of like a cheat code when you're doing that a little bit when you're taking, I don't know, say you're throwing a 12-year, 15-year, 16-year malt into a very heavily sherry type of cask. Maybe it has, it's pretty wet. It completely changes the color to a super, super dark color. You have the flavors in there. Because I mean, I've talked to some folks, it's like, oh, why I don't want to drink anything that's like heavily sherry like that because it takes over what I truly want is the Scotch. So to you, does it depend on there being kind of a like that happy balance between what becomes a sherry bomb without it going, too much to overtake the malt profile? Like, I'm just curious what you guys think about that.
I think it depends on where you're coming from the distillery. I think some of them probably could take it too far with the sherry, but I think if you're talking about somewhere like a Dunville's, I mean, they're known for sherry. So them, I could absolutely see leaving something in a cask for, 8, 10, 12 plus years. Yeah. Now I have had one that the entire maturation, it was a Bushmill source, 13 years entire maturation was in Oloroso sherry. And it was, you got those kind of pencil shaving notes. It was overdone. Yeah. And obviously that's why they sold the cask on. So I think it just depends on, who you're talking about and what they're trying to do. At least for Irish anyway.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, I think the term sherry bomb is when people are just, they know something is going to be very sherry forward. My personal palate, I want a depth of sherry influence that complements the spirit.
Yes.
So my thought is it's a refill sherry, and you might then put it in a first fill sherry towards the end to if it needed a punch of sweet or something like that.
Yeah.
Another layer, because that fresh sherry cask is going to add faster sweet to it, where you're going to get more of the nuttiness, meatiness, savory notes from a refill. And I know when I did the Springbank bottle to bar, Daniel's done it before too. You're sitting there with Springbank and you have a first fill sherry, refill bourbon, rum, Madeira, and port. And you're tasting all of that and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do your own personal blend and for a 70 cl bottle that you're going to take home. And I knew I wanted the base of mine to be refill bourbon and second fill sherry because I wanted more depth on that. I'm like really getting to blending. It's going to be bad. Where the dude next to me was like, first fill sherry, yeah. And I was like, all you're going to get is that really tart, kind of hard, just way over the top for my palate anyway. Knock yourself out if that's what you want to do. One dude just poured all the Madeira in there. It was just like,
I do like first fill sherry, I'll admit, but I could totally see where you're coming from though, because like if you did a first fill PX, if that was in there too long, I mean that could really get sweet.
Yeah,
I like it to be balanced. I like it to complement rather than cover.
Yeah, I think there's a fine line just because I know even with American whiskey drinkers, I feel like they love when there's a heavy finish on. It's like you don't even taste the bourbon anymore. Why don't you just go buy a bottle of the spirit it's finished in? Like why do you want it to go so far? So I feel like balance is the right word. I was just curious where you guys fall on that because I do like a good sherry bomb Irish whiskey or Scotch, but I do want to taste the backbone of the spirit that's still in there from the distillery that I love.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Jason, I mean, port is another one because it's so sweet. It can be overdone so fast.
Port can really overtake.
I think port I've had the worst experiences with more often than any other finish.
Yeah. Same.
because port gets sulfury. It starts
Mhm.
getting like eggy to me, and it
Mhm.
gets really weird if it's way overdone. It just you got to know when to say stop.
Yeah, I've got an Irish that's completely had the maturation in ruby port, and you get that note on there. It's not.
Mhm.
It's okay, but I mean, it's just not for me.
This Dunville is ridiculous.
Yeah. Just the hits keep coming, Stacy. I mean, come on.
Oh my
We are
god.
going younger after this, but
I don't think that's gonna make a damn difference.
I think I got like a little bit of a grapiness in there too now. Like a dried
Okay.
grape.
Jolly Rancher grape.
Is that were you thinking that? Right?
I was thinking with a Jolly Rancher sucker. Yeah.
That might be even more spot on. Like I was like, I got like a dry grape. Jolly Rancher grape might be it.
Jolly Rancher grape for the
a
win.
refined Jolly Rancher.
Yeah, like the grape blow pop before you hit the gum.
I love those notes. I absolutely love those relatable notes on whiskey. I tell you, I'm like your Method Man, a single pot still. It tastes like Twizzlers.
Yeah.
Like when we were doing the Clonical tea pack, like that's banana runts. Like I love those kind of notes.
This is just. Where can I get this? Oh my god.
There's a little shop in Belfast.
I'll take a trip tomorrow. We'll go.
What was it? Oh shoot! Yesterday there was a Claxton independent bottler, Springbank 24, and it was clarified butter and smelly socks. And I know that probably doesn't sound good to anybody, but Springbank is all about the funk,
Yeah,
and Campbelltown's
that's
about
true.
the funk. And it was like, this is so funky. I mean, I'm waiting for play that funky music. I was like, why boys start coming on?
So do they
so
do
great.
they tell you where the funk comes from? Is it where it's matured? Is it the yeast? Is it like where is the funk coming from?
My personal opinion is that Springbank has more funk on it than a Glen Scotia and
Mhm.
even a Kilkerran, even though Kilkerran has its own kind of thing.
Yeah,
going on.
you and I love us some Glen Scotia. I get it.
Yeah, we do. We both have a tuned in palate for
We got it
Glen
tuned in
Scotia.
for that. But Springbank, so where do you think it comes from?
I think it comes from that ancientness and the gradu that's like in all of the equipment. After seeing all of that
Mhm.
and knowing it's a Victorian I mean, it's just
So it's like
old.
seasoned well.
Yeah.
So it's
I
like your grandparents like old
Cast
pots and
iron.
pans
Yeah, like the
that
cat
has the
iron.
flavor in it. Nice.
I just think everything is seasoned for that, and I also think a lot of it has to do with their cuts, because you don't get as much funk off of a long grow or a hazel burn as you
Mhm.
do a Springbank. They use all the same stills, just different variations.
You know what? You're right. I didn't even
Of
think about
how
that.
they
Yeah.
do that, and triple or 1.5 or 2.5 distillations. So I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I love the Springbank funk. It's so good. All right.
All
Now
right.
We're going younger now, you said?
We're going younger. We're going to the Copeland.
The Copeland. All right.
So this is
Does that say chocolate malt?
that says chocolate malt.
All right.
So this is a 4-year-old double distilled chocolate malt. This is Copeland's own distillate. So this was in a special set that you could get at the Copeland distillery warehouse. This has not been released to the public yet.
Oh wow.
So this is chocolate malt that has been finished in an Oloroso firkin. I absolutely love Copeland. Copeland's using chocolate malt. They're using crystal malt. They're using double distillation. They're using rye. And they're producing some really great whiskey. We were such big fans that we did get when it released the very first cask. This is also a double distilled chocolate malt that was done in a bourbon cask finish. The one you were drinking has not been released yet. So this is getting cracked open next month for my birthday.
So what's a freaking firkin?
A firkin is a smaller cask.
Okay.
Yeah. It's smaller than a barrel but bigger than an octave? I can't remember.
I think it's a quarter.
Well, smells freaking
Oh
great.
wow.
Tell you that much. It smells freaking great.
Yeah, as soon as I debated
Word.
what the others I was going to send you, and I really wanted to send you some Copeland. I really
Freaking Birkin. I love it, Richie. I
Freaking-
want to go back to Jason talking about him getting the funk off of a unpeated Hazelburn all day. It may have just been the ones that I've had. You know, to me, I
Yeah.
guess I get more of the other, but yeah, there's funk all around Campbelltown.
quarter barrel. Yeah, there you go. That's what I thought. Quarter cask.
Okay.
All right. So interesting enough. I'm glad you said sherry, because I was like, it's 4 years old and chocolate malt. That's not gonna. That may give it some color, but not this dark
No,
color.
not all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
That
okay.
is
I'm like, that makes
natural
sense.
color, 4 years old.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
imagine how much longer that sits before that comes out. How dark that's going to be.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Copeland
do you know,
is
like, what ratio the chocolate malt is?
I believe this is 100% chocolate malt. I'm not 100% sure. I have the card downstairs. This is, though, 64.5%. Like I said, this was at the warehouse, came right out of the cask into these bottles. So this is an unreleased whiskey. And I love what they're doing at Copeland. So Copeland is a very small distillery in the coastal town of Donaghadee in County Down. And they're producing some really nice stuff. They've just started releasing their own. They've got their sourced whiskey right here that they have. Gareth Urban is just, I was blown away when I tried some of their new make samples there, especially the rye. I'm all over that rye when that comes out.
I haven't tasted it yet, but it smells like straight up chocolate covered strawberries. I get such a strawberry. If you just
you get a lot of chocolate.
If you hold the nose just like a little bit away from, just hold the glass a little bit away from your nose, just to let it. My goodness, I get strawberry and a lot of chocolate.
And
That's
even
so-
like the tart feeling.
And these
of
are
the
these
strawberry.
last two are the youngest, but I wanted to put them at the end of the lineup because they are the proofiest.
Oh my God, the freaking palate is just chocolate and coffee.
Yeah.
Wow. In a good way. That's like a smack you in your face latte right there.
I get a little balsamic on this too.
I could see the aged balsamic vinegar.
Yeah.
So freaking oily on the glass.
Man, that is fantastic.
At 4 years old, they're doing some really great stuff there. One of the fun experiences we had there, we walk in and there was like, oh, this guy, oh, these are a bunch of Americans. This guy that works here for us is American. He's from freaking Tuscarawas County, Ohio.
Oh,
And like, of course, travel all the way around the world to run into somebody that works at a distillery from Ohio.
you get a slight youthful quality on the very end of it. But other than that, this thing is an absolute flavor bomb.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much flavor. Good. I'm sorry. What was the ABV? Oh, 64.5. Dear
Yeah.
Lord. Okay.
Yeah, I just put some water on it.
Yeah. This has some heat.
Yeah, it's got some heat on it.
I
Like I
get
said,
a lot
these
more,
are straight from the cask into those bottles.
It's like chocolate covered coffee beans.
I get a lot more milk chocolate on the nose after the water.
Yeah, the water really
That's
does bring
so
out that
bitter.
chocolate.
Oh man, I love that little faint hit of strawberry there on the nose still. It's so good.
Now, chocolate malt, I know that they use it in American whiskey. It has not caught on yet as much in Ireland. I'm not sure if Teeling's doing anything with it. I think they're just doing crystal malt, but Copeland's the only one that I know that's doing crystal malt and chocolate malt.
Well, Woodford Reserve, I actually have the bottle right here. They released this little 375. It's the worst name ever. They call it the Chocolate Whisper.
Oh God, that's bad.
Really?
Just so bad. It's the
Bless their
Chocolate
heart.
Whisper. So they made story has it. I was at Woodford Reserve years ago, probably 2018, 2019, right after I started my channel. And these barrels were originally aging there, and they were sitting there for a little while because what happened was when they did make their chocolate malt for their Masters collection, their chocolate malt release, they had thought that they cleared out all the residual flavors, within their distillation system, and apparently that wasn't the case. So when they made new make again, the chocolate left over from using that chocolate malt whispered its way into the new make, and then they ended up calling it a thing. It became like a new release, and then now a few years later, they released this one. Now this one is a whole different animal because that first one was 90.4 proof, and it was pretty chocolatey. This one is way more so because it's 12 years old and it's 139.4 proof.
Whoa!
Which is
what?
Something
illegal?
Yeah.
You do not see this type of proof point from Woodford Reserve very often.
No, wow.
Let alone something that's age stated at 12 years old. So
Wow.
Yeah, but the chocolate maltiness definitely comes through on that as well. I don't think it says I think it has a little bit of the same attributes that we're tasting here with the chocolate and the coffee flavor, but I love the note, Stacey, of the balsamic vinegar. I think it just kind of it almost evens it all out. You know what I mean?
It just reminds me of that balsamic drizzle we put like on pizza and stuff.
The one that's already it's like cooked down. It gets
it's already like
sweeter.
Yeah.
And I'm getting more of that with the water on the palate.
Yeah. Lots of great chocolate whispers jokes in chat right now.
You gotta love the chocolate whisper.
That's a horrible, horrible name.
I know.
The only other chocolate malt that I've had was the New Riff, the winter whiskey. And I actually took that one. I did a stream a few weeks ago with a local brewer that's a friend of mine. And he had a beer that had been brewed with the chocolate malt. And we discussed how, they're watching because it will cause prices for the chocolate malt to increase because distillers are now using it. And it's always been a kind of a beer grain. So that's kind of interesting because it is true. And that's chocolate malt's kind of taken off.
So here in Edinburgh, there's a distillery called Holyrood, and they're relatively new. They finally got their whiskey out. It's now available in the U.S. through Scotch drinkers only are importing it, and which is awesome because otherwise you'd have to order it from overseas to get it. But they are like the mad scientists of malt varietals and yeast combinations. And when you were talking about the chocolate malt and the crystal malt, they're all over that and then some.
Wow.
And so they've had a couple and they've got they're going to do a lot of single cask release because they played that much with the whiskey and trying to figure out what they want their identity to be without being predictive in a core range way. And so I'm excited. I'm actually going to go there Thursday and go see and get a catch up on what's happened since the last time I was there.
I feel like Glenmorangie made chocolate malt a little bit more mainstream with their Signet when that came out.
Yeah.
Like people had heard that and they were like, oh, and it kind of, I think like the marketing around the bottle, the darkness of it, I think they kind of hit it out of the park with that one. Whether you like it or not, it just gives it a more enticing type of presentation when you hear chocolate malt in a Signet. So
yeah, I think you're right.
And shout out to the Scotch for Dummies. Their first American single malt pick was Andalusia chocolate malt. It was Texas malt, all of it. And I helped. I went with quite a few folks to go and help them bottle it in the heat of August
in Texas
last year.
Oh Lordy,
that's how much I love those guys. I'd sweat for them.
Hey, John Cloud, cheers to you.
Yeah, and Texas malt, a lot of it can be already inherently chocolatey. So then you add chocolate malt into the mix,
Oh,
hey, bourbon baller Lee. Yeah,
that's good. That's dessert. That's dessert whiskey.
Yeah, I love that one.
I'm gonna pour that on ice cream.
I'm excited to. This will be one that when they eventually do release these, I'll be grabbing a bottle of that. But that their chocolate malt and their rye, I'm really excited about it as well. Like I said, I got to try some of their New Make rye, and their New Make rye is really.
I'll take one of these chocolate malts when they release it, please. That is so good.
All right. So it would not be. I would not be me if I didn't manage to get a Cologne in here. So which it's kind of ironic that Leanne, you had your stream last week was about rum finishes.
Yeah.
Because you're drinking Cullowen Baron Tool. This is the Cullowen Colt bottle. This is a blackberry rum finish.
Did you call that the Cullowen Colt
Yes,
bottle?
it is Cullowen Colt. So the enthusiast group that I'm a member of, we call ourselves the Cullowen Cult.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's the
Kind of like the
enthusiast
Arctic
group. So
Colt.
this was a single cask bottling specifically done for this group. And it is made with rum. So this was finished in a cask that held the Cullowen blackberry rum.
Blackberry rum. Okay.
So first, Cullowen released this rum. This is all, I think it's just molasses and blackberries. And this was distilled at 65%. They released this for the Cullowen Cult. Then they decided to do this whiskey. So this is a 3-year-old whiskey. This is a GI compliant single pot still whiskey, 61.12% ABV.
This one smells a little green.
Yeasty and malty.
Yeasty and malty. Yep.
So this is made with 8 sacks of malted barley, 4.5 sacks of unmalted barley, 1 sack of Maris otter barley, quarter sack oats, quarter sack wheat.
Sounds like you're reading football stats. This one has 4.5 sacks.
Yep. They measure everything by the sack. So this spent 3 years in an ex-peated Great Northern Distillery bourbon cask, 6 months in the blackberry rum cask, then another 2 months in an ex-8-year-old Cooley cask.
Sack of wine.
Okay. So, I like to kind of get an idea in my head about what that should taste like before I get into it, knowing those things. An ex-peated, you said rum and then a Cooley?
Yeah, then the Cooley was just, it doesn't say what, I'm assuming it was probably either single malt or single grain cask. Put a little more in this one. So this, I actually did reach out to Brendan Cardy from Cullowen, told him that I was having you two on, asked him if he would like to pick. He was going to send me something special for you guys. He is traveling. He was not able to do so. So I said, well, Brendan, I got to get their samples out. What should I pick? And he said, send him the Cult bottle. So the maker of Cullowen helped pick this out for you guys.
Wow.
This might be the weirdest tasting note or nosing note I ever say.
Go for it.
It smells like I'm walking into, back in like my youth, I'm walking into a Long Island petting zoo. And there's like an earthy, barnyardy thing happening, but everything's covered in powdered sugar.
That was not where I thought you were going with that.
Dude, you're saying it's a road apple beignet.
I'm not sure what I'm saying, but like the nose
beignet, is that what you're saying?
Like I literally like got taken back to walking into like a petting zoo, like, and just getting this barnyardy smell to it. But somehow it's still very sweet at the same time. Okay.
And that's appealing. It is okay.
Yeah. There's somebody sitting back. Yes, that's what we were going for.
I don't
Ironically, so here's the thing about Cullowen Distillery. You're not that far off. I did get to actually visit Cullowen back in October when I was in Ireland. And when I say it's like the size of my 2-car garage might be bigger. I mean, it is small. It is very small. It is very, where Middleton is distilling like something like 35,000 barrels a week. Cullowen distills half a barrel a week. That's it. They use canoe paddles to stir their mash. They wheel the mash outside to let it, natural fermentation occur before they pitch their yeast. We visited their warehouse, which is actually like about the size of a single car garage, and it was up the road a spell. And the road is a very single lane, like our bus, we had to get off the main bus and get on like an airport shuttle to get up this road because it was so small. And when we walked, you have to kind of watch down for the road apples because the farmers use this road to take the sheep from one pasture to the next. So it's a very agricultural areas.
Mm-hmm.
So
you feel like
it's actually really indicative that you got that note. It's actually kind of indicative of where Cologne is.
So what you're telling me is you had to go through sheep shit to get to this.
I had to walk through sheep shit to try this. Yeah.
Well,
Been there, done that.
hey, listen, the nice way to say it is floral and fauna. All right, let's go with that.
Don't tell us you guys know that. Okay.
Beautiful area.
Do
in the
what you gotta do.
mountains,
All right, I'm gonna taste this. I want to see if the nose matches the palate or if it's completely different. Oh yeah, this is. I get more of the sweet on here for sure.
It's got a kick.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Definitely has a kick. Ooh, that thing just kind of goes in a good way.
A really long finish on it.
Yeah.
The sweet is lingering with an underlying sour malt thing with the warmth of the heat from the finish. You can chew this.
Yeah. So double distilled. They use Portuguese copper pot stills to distill. They use worm tub condensers. This one, I love. That peated cask, I think, does add a nice richness, adds a nice depth to this. I don't know if I would have liked it as much without it.
No, the peat just adds another layer element. This is very balanced for that, because even last week when I was talking about rum cask, that like sherry can be just way overdone. You know, if I got rum flavored sherry, rum flavored whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
This, man. So, Stacey, tell me, drop some knowledge, please. With that mash bill, and you've got the different types of malt and the oats and those, what do those other grains help add to the flavor profile for this that we're getting?
Oats, they typically use oats for creaminess. Oats adds a really nice mouthfeel to whiskey. The one where you can also get it is that's widely available is the Drumshambo single pot still. That one has 3% bar oats, and you do get it's like a creaminess to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the more, I don't know, maybe just because I'm coming off these other ultra rich sherry bombs and the chocolate malt, but that earthy note that I was getting was just very strong. But now it's making way for more of that blackberry note that from the rum a little bit. I still get that little bit of a barnyardiness on the front of the palate, probably from that malt. But other than that, it really starts going into the rum characteristic and the blackberry for sure. And it's very, to Leanne's point, it is very hefty on the palate. It's good. Yeah. It's got a depth to it that I didn't think, was going to be there for such a young whiskey.
And
Cologne's really good at doing that.
Very,
this is natural color.
Yeah.
3-year-old
that's misleading. Not misleading in a bad way. Your assumptions are wrong. This is going to be light and fruity. No.
Nope.
Yeah, if I was looking at just if I didn't look at the label, I would think this was going to be very light, your typical, almost like buttered biscuit, maybe some apple, some pear type of Irish whiskey, but not what I'm tasting right now.
No way.
It's got way more depth than you think.
Wow. How is that tiny little place making stuff like this?
I know.
I mean, in Andalusia, the ones that the dummies did, I mean, their still is this big around. And they're making incredible stuff. I love it when the passion comes out. Just like Andalusia, they're brewers by trade. They made beer forever. So they really understand how to get that wort in the wash right.
So
Mm.
Brendan was an architect before this.
Well,
That's
then
crazy.
he's got amazing attention to detail
Yeah.
straight out.
But yeah, I love what they're producing at 3 years old. And he truly believes that, whiskey, it doesn't need to be in a cask for 25 years to be a good whiskey. If you're making, using good practices and using good ingredients, it should be ready to release at 3. His oldest whiskey is 5 years old. I've got that one back here as well.
Gosh.
And I know you've tried another one of my big favorites, the 3-year Tawny Port, the peated Tawny Port.
That's port done right.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good bottle.
This was quite the roller coaster of flavors.
So if you had to pick a favorite,
Oh, damn.
Oh,
I think I know which one Jason's picking. I'm not sure.
Oh,
about
it's the Dunville. It's not even
Dunville. That's what I
close.
figured.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not even close.
We had you at Palo Cortado.
You did. You done it. It's Palo Cortado done right. That's what I would name that bottle.
I would have to agree. It's just it's so very balanced and complementary. It's not one element of it isn't screaming over the other. To be fair, none of this is off balance,
Mhm.
but flavor that was amazing. Although I
hard to
really
top a
like this one,
23-year-old
this
Dunville.
past one, the killing, because it's so funky.
Yeah, that's
And
the
atypical.
last one is like it's like weirdly delicious.
Yeah,
I like the whiskey. The rum. I've got a lot of the rum left, and I mean, you can tell. I mean, that's blackberry color.
Yeah.
I don't, and part of it's the proof. I don't drink the rum a lot, but the whiskey I really like.
I feel like the Redbreast. I think I might like second. That chocolate malt was very interesting, just so deep and rich. For such a young whiskey, it's got just a ton of flavor. I like that one a lot too. And the first one was great, and this last one just kind of
I gave you a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, this last one is kind of just throwing me for a loop.
I think I did that on our first stream because I sent you some poachine.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's such a wide range, and I mean, hella picks. Thank you.
No, thank you guys.
Yeah,
Thank you
for anyone that thinks Irish whiskey isn't diversified enough, then just look at this flight. I mean, my goodness.
Well, thank you both. I appreciate you spending some time with us this Sunday, right before St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
appreciate
Always look forward to when you send samples.
Say you got the good stuff.
Yes, you do. Yep.
Well, thank you, everyone. Jim Pinchitter's on right now. Go ahead and check him out. Tell him I sent you. I will see you guys all next week. I hope everybody has a very happy St. Patrick's Day.
Absolutely.
Slàinte, everybody.
Slàinte, y'all.